This project is the alterations in addition to an existing house in Hawthorne. The clients are a retired couple, but with quite a large extended family. It's located in what's known as the St James Park precinct in Hawthorne. And I've included this photo to start with because even though it's undated, Bryce Rayworth suggested it's from the late 70s, but I put it in here because it shows a sense of materiality of what one would have expected this house to have had, both externally, but particularly also internally. Unfortunately, in the 1980s, it was significantly altered, almost fully rebuilt by a developer, and it lacked any real sense of authenticity of what it was as a Victorian house. The external was fully rendered and had a pastiche-like feel to it, but particularly also internally, when we were engaged, it was bereft really. It had a coldness, inappropriate sort of materials, and the floor plan of the existing house shows a very odd arrangement of spaces. And things like sort of an indoor pool with this sort of arrangement, an incongruous sort of ceremonial staircase. But we did try to think about what sort of details might be able to be kept, what we could salvage, and look at it quite carefully to retain what was possible. So the new floor plan at the front of the house, we retained as much as possible of the overall footprint, and the front became more of a formal area with a drawing room, a formal dining, a study for the clients, and then leading through a gallery into a less formal, casual meals area and kitchen area. The original house still had a very, it was a big house and the rooms in size were big. So we were keen to try to make sure that proportion of the new works were sort of in relation with that. And importantly, we separated the two wings through this use of a courtyard. And although that can be seen something as like a twee sort of gesture, it did have an important effect of being able to look back through the house. And I was considering this courtyard more as an internal, external space that could be borrowed, so the rooms inside will borrow from it quite meaningfully, and that there's a cloister so that it could temper the light coming into the space, so there was a softness to the light. And it being in a cloister had that almost colonial feel of being in the shelter looking out onto the sunlight, which is, you know, a lovely thing, but it actually adds more, I think, to the sense of the interior. The first floor followed directly above that, with the front of the house being almost a suite for the clients with their bedroom, dressing room and ensuite bathroom. And interestingly, they also wanted a nighttime bathroom. And then towards the rear were three bedrooms for the children. This section is really here for two reasons. One is there were some interesting spaces. So the towers, which were quite tall and slender, were really interesting to work with. And in a number of areas, we included concealed skylights to bring a softness to the space and really to temper the light. So, for example, the stairwell, we chose not to have any windows, but just use concealed lighting. So it formed the real transition between the sort of downstairs areas moving into the night spaces. So completed project itself. So this was for me a photo that symbolised a little bit the sense of what the addition meant from an interior aspect. So the clients have quite an extensive art collection. So we spent a lot of time curating that with them as to where pieces would be located, both paintings and also sculptures. So leading through the new stairwell, use of concealed skylights that I mentioned, into the gallery between the main bedroom and the children's area. These windows through here look onto the courtyard, but really inset so that they have more of a suspended quality within the space internally. A view through the main ensuite bathroom. And then just a quick note, trying to create, I'm sure all of us as architects try to do this sense of hierarchy. So this little nighttime bathroom, we really didn't want it to have a ceremonial entrance like the main bathroom. So the wall was devised as, the door was disguised as disappearing into the wall. So there's a hierarchy of what was a main room from another room. Going back downstairs, looking into the dining room and a study beyond. So reclaimed timber work. Looking into a powder room with, we used a patinated bronze as a material through a lot of the areas. And then into the main living room, where rather than using curtains or blinds, use of solid timber shutters, and they give a sort of slightly more abstract sort of feel to the room, works particularly well upstairs in the bedroom. This is a main ground floor gallery leading towards the kitchen area. You can see the cloister on the left. What is difficult to show in these slides is a sense of alignment of all the spaces. So we tried to develop a sort of an axial view to each of the main corridors with elements at the end. Kitchen, once again, use of this patinated brass, and then looking back through to the prep kitchen beyond the main kitchen. On the right, looking through the service areas, laundry, den, mudroom, etc. And you just a hint here of how that cloister.
1 minute, 1 minute remaining.
Thank you. Looking towards the main living room area, prep kitchen, and then just a final series of images of viewing these spaces from the courtyard. So what was important is how these spaces are viewed through one space into another. So the study on the bottom, into the kitchen, living room, a view down to this quite important piece of sculpture in the distance in the sitting room, cloister, and then back to the main gallery. Thank you.